Sometimes it is difficult to choose the most impressive memories of a fascinating trip, but in this case, the answer is easy. The very beautiful colours of Utah's rocks, and the autumn views, the colours of a land that will never stop to amaze. During a 2,800-mile journey, there is the Mormon cleanliness of Salt Lake City, the world's largest copper mine, the fantastic autumn colours of the Wasatch Mountains, American railway history's most important historical site, the splendid eastward trip across the winter's territory to Flaming Gorge, the mysterious messages carved or painted on the rocks by ancient Indians, dinosaur monuments, prehistoric fossils, the desolate San Rafael mountain range, the puffing steam engine of Heber City, and the breathtaking beauty of Canyonland. Modern-day Salt Lake reflects the vision of its Mormon founder, Brigham Young. Clean, organized, efficient, and yet architecturally beautiful. With fountains of water, spreading life, growth, and beauty over what was originally a barren waste. With more than 4 million visitors each year, Temple Square is the focal point of Salt Lake. The Mormon temple took more than 40 years of Mormon sweat and money to complete. Perhaps its most distinctive feature is a 4-meter-tall statue of the angel Moroni, made of hammered copper, covered with glistening gold leaf. In the nearby visitor centre, visitors can admire well-decorated statues and paintings representing scenes of the Bible and stories of the Mormon Church. Young multilingual Mormon missionaries welcome all visitors and are ready to explain historical and religious details. The recently built conference centre contains an auditorium with 21,000 seats and a gigantic orchestra pit with organ, which often hosts the world's famous Tabernacle Mormon Choir.
Questo è il posto giusto. Così disse Brigham Young.
This is the right place. With this declaration, Brigham Young, having just come out of Emigration Canyon, ended the dangerous 1,500-mile journey of his people on July the 24th, 1847. Persecuted, decimated by sickness and Indian attacks, hungry, thirsty, and in bad physical condition, 143 men, 3 women, 2 children, with horses, mules, oxen and cows, finally arrived in the valley of the Great Lake and began the transformation of Utah from a desert to what it is today. Salt Lake sits east of the Great Salt Lake, the largest saltwater lake in the Western Hemisphere. Its salinity results from dozens of salts saturating and supersaturating the water. It is almost impossible to sink in it. Its vastness can be better appreciated from the 12,000 feet high Wasatch Mountains. The lake's largest island is Antelope, which is a state park famous for its beautiful sunsets and home to